Korea is a beautiful country, recently experiencing the devastation of war. Nature has now healed the wounds on the land, but wounds on people heal more slowly. This man and many of his generation will never get over the war. But for the children there is great hope. And all the world bears a responsibility for the children of Korea and of the many other children in undeveloped land. The project has been concerned about this problem for years. Following the devastation of the Second World War in Europe, Heifer Project was organized by farmers, churchmen, and service clubs in the United States. In Europe, refugees were held up in camps. Farmers had to leave their farms because their livestock had been destroyed. And so in response to this tremendous need, American farmers contributed their cows, United Nations and governments contributed transportation money, and working together, the livestock of Europe was replenished. But in Japan, the people were too poor to own a cow, and dairy goats seemed to be the answer. In response to an appeal from Kagawa, these dairy goats were shipped, over 2,000 of them, to be distributed to the people in their homes on the hillsides of Japan. Dairy goats that would save thousands of children's lives. Today, Heifer Project is continuing this work in almost 60 underdeveloped countries. Livestock is gathered in central points, having been contributed by farmers and also, in some cases, bought with funds from groups. The animals are taken to a collection center near the port, and then they are prepared for their final voyage across the ocean. These cows are going to Korea. Having been contributed by farmers, churches, and service clubs, they are going to go to orphanages, to institutions, and to individual farmers who have shown the ability to care for an animal. Once the animals are ready for their ocean voyage, we have the problem of persuading them that they want to go overseas. But once loaded into these boxcars without wheels, they are carried off down the dock, lifted onto the deck of the ship, and secured by cables for their 10-day crossing of the Pacific Ocean. A seagoing cowboy accompanies the shipment in order to make certain that the valuable gifts are carefully protected, fed, watered, and that their stalls are kept clean. Each of these cows is a valuable heifer worth over $300, and no care is too great to be given to them. The trip across the Pacific Ocean is a pleasant trip for the cowboy and the cows, in spite of the labor required in keeping the stalls ship-shape. These heifers are destined for Korea, where we are met by a large group of people who represent the orphanages and the institutions that are going to receive and distribute these animals. This orphanage has received these cows for two purposes. First, they provide milk for the children of the orphanage. And secondly, they provide a training center in dairy agriculture for the boys in the orphanage who will need to learn a skill before they can go out into the world. These are the future of Korea, future homemakers, future farmers, the future manufacturers of this Asian land. High in the mountains above Busan, this project is being established with the help of 10 heifers from Heifer Project and 20 purebred pigs. 400 families that have largely come off of the streets of Busan have been resettled here and are carving out a new life for themselves. It is far better to raise their families in the clean mountain air than to raise them on the sidewalks of the slums of Busan. And these heifers and the pigs distributed through this farm are the major source of income for this group of 400 families. New hope, new opportunity provided by living gifts from Heifer Project. A few years ago, these homes did not exist. This was a barren hillside. But because of this project, these people have come from the cities and they have built their small, modest homes, and they are living here independent and proud. Orphanages are well known to all of us. These children have healthy teeth, healthy bodies, and healthy minds because they have benefited from the chickens and from the heifers that have been shared. They receive milk and they eat eggs, and this is helping to make them productive members of the Korean society. Agricultural missionaries are a key personnel in our distribution program throughout the world. Here an agricultural missionary unpacks some pigs that he is going to take out to farmers who have already received extensive training in the maintaining of a pig. These pigs look like they are from America, but really they are repaid loans. The parents were sent from America, but the farmers who received them have given these back to be shared with someone else. And so we go with Paul Kingsbury to distribute these pigs. This farmer is receiving a young Berkshire gilt, and this pig will make the difference between poverty and hope for him. This man is a pastor of a very small church, and on his salary of $10 a month, it is impossible for him to ever hope to educate his 3 children. But his pig will provide him with enough income that he can educate them. A few years ago, this was a valley of despair. It's a leper colony where lepers have been resettled by the church in Korea to give them a place where they feel they belong. Heifer Project has shared livestock with them to upgrade their own stock and to start them off with a New Jersey herd. Because of this, this valley of death has become a valley of hope. Kaesung High School is a private high school in the town of Daegu with 4,000 students. A few years ago, they had no dairy and no dairy department. But now the boys can learn their dairy agriculture, and this is all possible because Heifer Project gave them 7 heifers and 1 bull. Now they have 40 milking cows, which provide income for the school and also provide the children with a loan program where they can borrow these animals, take them home, as they do even from this Mennonite center. And when they have raised the heifer, they repay their loan with the first female calf. Union Christian Service Center is the largest of the agricultural schools in Korea. Here all of the churches work together to provide training in agriculture and home economics for boys and girls in Korea. These men go out and cut the hay by hand. It is then fed to the cow who makes delicious milk. This milk is either sold or drunk by the people at the Union Christian Service Center. How valuable is a cow? This man shows us that 1 cow can be his livelihood as he takes the milk on his back to the market. Dean Schoengert points out the many, many cows that have been distributed by him in South Korea. Each dot represents a family that has received a cow in order to give it hope and opportunity. A typical Korean home. In the middle of the picture you can see the barn for his cow. This boy is a graduate of the Union Christian Service Center, and with his cow he is going to provide a more abundant life for this family. His home and his village is not sumptuous, but it is comfortable and it is his. And through the Living Gift program, we have given him an opportunity to improve the conditions of his family. Throughout Korea, we are trying to teach the people the use of modern scientific farming methods. Here, fertilizer is demonstrated in a government plot. The hardest work, of course, is not fertilizing or planting, but harvesting at the end of the season. Many times we are asked what becomes of the orphans. This boy in the cap was an orphan from the Korean War. Through his own initiative and determination, he has now become an independent Korean farmer, and he has a family of 6 children. These 6 children will have milk to drink. Their father will have a way to make a living because these heifers have been loaned to him. He will pay back the first female to be loaned to someone else. And thus the generosity and compassion spreads throughout Korea. Notice on this barn that there is a tile roof. The owner's home has a thatched roof. The barn has been built to protect his valuable cows. And these are the boys in the family who are going to benefit from this milk. Inside the barn, he has carefully constructed it with materials at hand, for he has no money to buy materials from outside. He has built silos as he was instructed to do by the Union Christian Service Center. Digging holes in the ground, sinking culverts, he has filled them with silage. Chickens are very vital to the livelihood of many Koreans, for their egg production is phenomenal, and a few chickens carried to market in a basket like this can provide a man with an adequate income in Korea today. One is proud as he travels through Korea to see the black and white cows, the white chickens, the white pigs, which are symbols of American compassion for the Korean people. This young farmer received 15 baby chicks, and look what he has done. He now has a flock that provides his family with an adequate income. The amazing dairy goat is very important in Heifer Project work throughout the world. In Korea, it provides families with a source of milk for their own use. This pastor's wife has this goat for her children, and the young are redistributed through Heifer Project. And so in the deepest valleys of despair, in Korea and elsewhere in almost 60 countries throughout the world, there is hope because living gifts are being shared.